Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. Today I'm using the Paper Smooches set called Chubby Chums. And I'm starting off with this Tim Holtz embossing folder, which is this distressed brick pattern, and some crumb cake cardstock. So after I run it through my Sizzix, I'm going to take this Color Box white ink, which is my favorite white ink, because it gives you really good coverage. I'm going to use the stamp pad direct to paper technique. So I'm just rubbing my ink pad on the top and not pressing too hard because I don't want it to get where the mortar is on the brick, just on the brick itself. The next thing I'm going to do is take some Spellbinders dies, this rectangle. I'm going to place it right there, holding it with some Eclipse masking tape, run it through the Sizzix, and I'll have this nice window. I'm going to do the same thing with a piece of black cardstock, because this is going to be my window frame. Run that through the Sizzix. And I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to measure 1/4 of an inch out on all sides and run it through the paper trimmer to make this window frame. And now I need to make the hole in my card base. So the cut line on these dies is in the middle of the rectangle, so that's why I had to place the die directly onto my craft sheet and trace the inside of it so I could see exactly where it was going to be placed and cut that hole in the white. So I'm just lining everything up, make sure it looks good. And now I'm going to put that off to the side, and I'm using this scallop punch by Stampin' Up. It's really old, it actually doesn't cut very well. This is going to be the curtains. I trimmed it, and now I have this, I just bought this Martha Stewart scoreboard because it's like this little mini scoreboard, and it's really easy to pull in and out when I'm making cards. But I wanted to have like a score line on every time the scallop goes up, and it wasn't exactly like 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch or whatever, so I had to move it just a tiny little bit each time. But the idea is to get the score mark right where the scallops go up. This is a 2-way glue pen which dries really fast and it adheres really nicely, and I'm just placing it on top of this Melon Mambo piece, and then I'm going to trim the edges with some scissors. Now I'm going to take my stamp set and I'm going to stamp it twice with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink on Unisolar white cardstock. And I actually also need to stamp the paws, and rather than waste some cardstock there, I just, trying to be frugal, cut a little piece and stamped it on that little piece. I'm going to color the kitty with 4 different shades of W, which is warm gray. The first thing I'm going to do is do my Olive light color, which is going to be my W1, and I'm just going to be coloring the top part of this kitty because he's going to be leaning over the window. You won't see the bottom of him. I started with some W5. My light's coming from the right, so I'm going to make it darker on the left edge, and then some W3 to blend it back in. And then I ended up using W3 on the right. Now what I tend to do is on the left hand side, because my light is coming from the right, is I use the darkest color. So in this case, actually I went back in right here with a W7. So if there's W7 on the left, then there's going to be W5 on the right, because you're not going to get quite as much shadow on the right hand side if your light is coming from the right. And I also added a little bit more dimension on his face, blending that out. And his ears are so tiny, I fit just 2 colors in there, and then on his eyebrows I just colored him with a W5. I'm going to color paws, W1, then W5, then W3. And I started packing everything up and I realized that I forgot to do the paws and the tail on my first kitty. So I'm going to do these paws, and then the tail all over W1. And then I hit the shadow areas with W5, W3, and then W1 to blend it all together. Alright, now it's time to pack it up, and I'm going to cut all of these out. So I slowed it down here so you can see how I make these cuts. Is I keep my scissors still, so my scissor is always stationary, and I just move my paper with my left hand to cut it, and it seems it makes it feel easier to me to do it this way rather than trying to wrap my scissor around the paper. Um, so this is two-way glue pen. You see I turned it over. You can see the Copics actually go through and you can see them on the other side, which is why I cut another cat out and glued them together. And I want to make sure I keep my black outline. I can see a little white, so I just took some black marker and made sure that the edges were colored black. Now I'm going to adhere my window frame onto the brick. And I'm going to take my tape runner and just tape the bottom of it, and I'm going to put the window frame covering about 2/3 of the paws. And I had cut these paws out, and I'm using my two-way glue pen again, and I'm going to make a little dot of glue, and then I'm going to glue the paw on there so it's on top of this black window frame. And I just use my scissors to place it. And I slowed it down so you can see how it kind of pops up a little bit. Alright, next I'm just going to adhere this. And I almost put tape too far up on the cat, but you have to be careful because the back of the cat is actually going to show. And I couldn't really see, so I put some Melamumbo in there so I can line it up. Now I drew a line with my pencil so I could see where to place my sentiment so it wouldn't show through the window. And erase my line there. And that's it. I actually went back and added some glossy accents to his eyes and his nose to make it a little bit more textured. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.